Ashton had never expected to gain a new family so late in his teenage years, but when his father remarried he suddenly found himself with a new stepsister, Emma. She was a year younger, endlessly kind, and possessed a subtle, unique charm that was all her own. From their first introduction he felt a strange pull toward her, something that went beyond the typical sibling bond. She was bright, adventurous and effortlessly drew people in. Ashton was no exception. They grew close quickly, sharing late-night conversations, secrets, and laughter while their parents assumed they were adjusting to life as siblings. Ashton found himself struggling with a secret he couldn't admit to anyone, not even himself. His feelings for Emma had deepened over the years, turning into something that constantly nudged at the edges of his thoughts. He tried to keep it hidden, but around Emma his words and expressions sometimes hinted at more than friendship. Emma, for her part, adored Ashton like a brother. She treasured the bond they shared, but never saw him in any way other than family. She loved his quick wit, his goofy humor, and the way he'd step in protectively whenever she needed him, but she had drawn her boundaries firmly. He was her brother, her friend. Ashton, however, couldn't escape his feelings. He convinced himself that he simply needed to tell her that maybe, just maybe, she would understand. So one evening while they were stargazing on the roof, an activity they'd shared since their first summer as siblings, Ashton gathered his courage. The night was warm and the stars twinkled above them as he spoke, his voice just above a whisper. Emma, there's something I need to tell you, he started, his heart hammering in his chest. He glanced at her profile illuminated by the faint glow of the stars. I think I might have feelings for you. Emma's face softened and she met his gaze, pausing for a moment before speaking. Ashton, I care about you so much. You're one of my best friends and I'm really glad we're family now, but I don't see you like that, she said, her voice gentle but firm. He felt a pang of disappointment but nodded, masking his feelings behind a small understanding smile. I know, he replied, attempting to lighten their moment. I just thought you should know. After that night things were tense. Ashton tried his best to move on, to just be her friend as she wanted, but he couldn't quite shake his lingering feelings. He distanced himself a bit, and Emma noticed she missed the warmth they once shared, and she began to worry that she might lose him as a friend. Entirely months passed and Ashton's affection for Emma was still there, albeit subdued. He kept his distance, only sharing the occasional joke or casual conversation. But then something happened that shifted everything. Emma started dating someone new, a bright, confident guy named Tom. Seeing Emma with Tom hit Ashton harder than he expected, but he stayed supportive, putting on a brave face and even giving her dating advice whenever she asked. Emma noticed how supportive he was, even though she knew it couldn't be easy for him. One evening Emma called him, her voice shaky. She had broken up with Tom. He had hurt her and she needed a friend. Without hesitation, Ashton was there, comforting her and listening to her heartache as she cried into his shoulder. He didn't say anything, he just let her be, his presence steady and comforting. As the weeks went by, Emma and Ashton grew close again, and this time she saw him in a new light. She saw how patient he had been, how much he valued their friendship, and how much he had sacrificed his own feelings just to keep her in his life. One night as they sat on the same rooftop where Ashton had once confessed his feelings, Emma surprised herself by reaching for his hand. Ashton, thank you for being there for me no matter what, she murmured, giving his hand a squeeze. You're my best friend, I wouldn't trade this for anything. Though Ashton's heart still held a trace of longing, he understood that Emma's friendship was a gift he'd always treasure. He squeezed her hand back and smiled at her, a true smile this time. The two sat in silence, watching the stars, content in the comfort of knowing that their bond, though unconventional, was unbreakable. Emma didn't return his romantic feelings, but their friendship grew into something rare and beautiful, a place where boundaries were respected, feelings were acknowledged, and connection thrived. Ashton had wanted something more, but as they sat there under the stars he found that what he'd gained in their friendship was perhaps something far greater.